Thank you for tuning in to Breaking Down the Barriers on KZI 88.7 FM. Breaking Down the Barriers is an initiative of the Austin Independent School District. This program was created to provide information on resources, programs, and district initiatives to you, our parents, students, and community members of the Austin area. Breaking Down the Barriers is committed to bringing the best in educational news, resources, and tools to ensure that each and every student is successful. Today's guest is Ms. Leonor Vargas, Administrative Supervisor of the Parent Support Program. Thank you for being here today.
You're welcome, Beverly. Thank you.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with the district?
Well, like you said, my name is Leonor Vargas, and I've been with the school district for almost 20 years in various roles. Recently started as the Administrative Supervisor for the Parent Office, which basically is charged with overseeing the parent support specialists in 78 of our schools.
Okay.
And we basically are engaging parents and working with parents in partnership to help them their students be successful in their schools.
Why is parent engagement important to you?
I think parent engagement is very important to me for several reasons. Well, I am a parent as well. Okay. I have a son in high school, in one of our high schools here in Austin. And I have found that when parents are involved, not only like myself, our children know that we're involved and that their education matters. And it also gives us the opportunity to create the learning environment for our children that we would like to see for them. And more importantly is we have the ideals and understanding of what's happening in the classrooms.
Right. What role does the Parent Support Office play?
The role that the Parent Support Office plays basically is working in partnership with parents, community, and also with schools. We work in all the schools in the district. The Parent Support Office, with input from the school administration, teachers, and parents and community, we create different types of workshops or learning opportunities for parents to either get engaged and understand how the school system works in their child's school. That's one way, and the other way is that we create workshops to basically create leadership. Our parents to be basically part of the decision-making process.
Right. How many parent support specialists do we have? I think you mentioned 77, 78?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is it determined which school they're going to be located in?
It's determined whether a school is a Title I school. And what that means is the majority of the students are either in free or reduced lunch.
Okay. So in those schools, the 78 schools, how are the parent support specialists utilized? You mentioned workshops and developing parent leaders, but what other roles do they play?
Well, I always think of the parent support specialist as like the key to the school. Okay. The parent support specialist is someone that a parent can look for at a school if they're having a difficult time with basic resources, or if they're needing some school supplies, or if they're looking for help with, how to navigate and understand what is happening at the school, as I stated earlier. And the parent support specialist is also someone that a parent can come in and have a conversation with about new initiatives that they would like to see on their campus that they feel would help the environment, the learning environment.
It sounds like they're almost a liaison between maybe the campus principal and the parent or the family.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How does that work, working with the parents and families, how does that work impact the classroom?
Oh, it's great impact. I think that when parents are visible at a child's school and their children see their parents at school, there are several things that impact. One is the value the students see that, the parents value their education. That's the number one. The other one, I think it also motivates the partnership between the school and the parents or the classroom teacher that this child might have when the parent is present. And also I think the parents can provide valuable feedback to the administration of the school about what they've noticed in regards to either safety,
Right.
health, wellness, or just the culture of the whole school.
And so with that impact, do you feel that the schools that have the parent support specialists they benefit more than the schools who may not have them?
I mean, it's hard to say, because I think that, in some schools that don't have parent support specialists, have PTAs.
Okay.
And that's another way that parents can get involved as well. One of the charges of parent support specialists is also to create PTAs on their campus, again, going back to parent leadership.
Okay.
I would say that there is an advantage. There is, because, sometimes a campus that doesn't have a parent support specialist might, if you have a parent who's, is not used to going to a campus and is needing help on how to navigate or ask questions, they might just go to the front office.
Right.
But if there's a parent support specialist on the campus, then they have a link, a direct link.
That's great. It sounds like there are programs and workshops for parents at the individual schools that actually have parent support specialists. You talked about getting resources for families who need them. What kinds of connections do the parent support specialists make for those families?
It's a case by case. For example, I know that sometimes parents have questions about where to find health coverage. And so the parent support specialists have been trained to help them connect with community partners, through our Health and Human Services, our city department, around, the MAP or the clinic card or Medicaid or CHIP. They develop partnerships with community partners, that's one. The other one might be clothing through Operation School Bell. And then we have school supplies. We have partnerships also with churches that might help with that as well. And then we have partners that the parent support specialists might develop, like an English class, a computer class, a parenting class, which right now is like Love and Logic.
Okay.
So there's different things. It's on a case by case. So, for me, I always like to tell parents, have a conversation with your parent support specialist. Get to know them and let them get to know you. And then have an open conversation about, what as a parent is impacting your child's learning.
Right. With those connections in the community, it sounds like the parent support specialist can build relationships with those community organizations that actually we can refer families to should they have needs that we in the schools can't provide for them. So it's almost like the school becomes another community center.
Exactly. I think, in a sense, we have neighborhood centers throughout the city. And we're not, education, the schools are not into social services, like you
Right.
mentioned. But, we are a bridge and a link to the community and to the services that are available in our city.
Yeah, and that's great. We also have, and I know you're familiar with it because you used to work with one, we also have family resource centers at a few of our schools. Can you talk to us a little bit about those, kind of how the parent support specialists work with the family resource centers?
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the family resource centers. We have some in North Austin and South Austin. And the parent support specialists can, again, be a link to the family resource centers. Sometimes they partner up and do a partnership in creating workshops for the families. That's one way they do. So they're a referral source to and from the family resource centers.
That's great. With the work with the families that the parent support office does and helps establish, how do the families actually, boots on the ground, get involved in their child's education? What does that look like?
Well, there's different ways. I think that, the reality is that we have a diverse population in Austin and diverse parents, and there's different ways for parents to get involved in their schools. I think the foremost one way is they send their children to school.
Right.
That's the number one. If we don't have parents sending their kids to school, we don't have schools.
Right.
So that's one way to be involved. If they make that commitment, it helps us with our attendance. And then the second one, they might, come and offer to help at the school in some way or another, where that might be where they support the teachers by making copies or answering telephone calls. And then I think the most important way that parents can get involved is to, get involved through their PTAs or be part of the Campus Advisory Council, or complete the parent survey, which is happening. We offer now. They provide us feedback. I think that parents, can play different roles, as a supporter, encourager, and monitor of their kid. We're using our parent cloud to monitor their children's grades. And then if they see something is going wrong with it, and academically, that they have a conversation with their teachers. So there's different ways that parents can, get involved in the schools.
And I think I can remember as a child, as I grew up, in elementary school, you really want your parents there. In middle school, not so much, and in high school, not at all. So parent involvement even seems to look different at the different levels. So if you have parents who aren't sure how to get involved because their student is not really wanting them to be involved, how do you help them navigate that kind of fine line between allowing their student to have a little more freedom and still wanting to be involved in their child's education?
I can talk about that from a personal experience. My son is in high school, and he's like, "Mom, I really don't want you to come," But I think what I have found is I've had a conversation with him. I think that that's really important for parents to have conversations with their children. Have found it beneficial to ask my son, I really want to be involved in your school. I know you're in high school. I know you don't want me there, but I'm still going to be involved. And so then I find opportunities where, I'm still present, and that might be whether it's through fundraising,
Right.
it might be through supporting the teachers. One of the things that I do in my son's school is they have a program called Secret Pal. And basically I adopt 2 teachers, and on a monthly basis I send them notes or a gift or something. And then another thing is I also communicate with his teachers. I email them on a regular basis and ask them, is everything okay? Can I do anything as a parent? How can I help you? So there's, depending on the
Right.
school and development, and even in middle school, sometimes it gets harder.
Yeah.
Because that's a stage where students is like, oh, I don't know. But there's always the PTA, CAC, and then there's informal meetings and conversations as well that can happen, with the administration of a campus, the parent support specialists, and other parents.
So it sounds like another role that the parent support specialists play is that of educating the parents on the different ways they can be involved, like participating in the Campus Advisory Council or in the Parent-Teacher Association. I just went blank, PTA, and helping them to feel welcome and know that they're wanted. So there's that customer service piece also, making sure that the families know, first of all, we want you here, and here's how you can be involved.
Exactly.
Okay. So about your partners out in the community, do you have specific types of groups? Do you open it up to whoever? Do you determine what your campus needs are, and that's how you seek out the organizations? Or
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
let them come to you?
Well, it happens both ways. I think that we're very fortunate in Austin that we do have a lot of community partners that want to get involved in our schools, and they want to help our students and help our educational environment. And then there's some that we intentionally seek out based on conversations and issues that might surface in the school, whether internally or externally. I know, for example, we have a high concentration of refugee students in some of our schools up north. And so we've intentionally have partnered up with the city of Austin through the refugee offices, and then intentionally have partnered up with some neighborhood churches, and then some nonprofit organizations to meet the needs of those students.
Okay.
And so it just, one of the things that we're very clear as a school district and also with the parent support specialists is that we always are encouraging them to map out their community, get to know their community. What does it mean to live in the community that
Right.
surrounds your school? Even though if the parent support specialists don't live in that community, it's very important because for us, from the parent support office is building that relationship with our parents is like the number one thing.
Right. So, Ms. Vargas, talk to us about some myths about parent engagement that you might come across.
I think some of the myths that I've come across in some of my conversations with some parents is that I've heard parents tell me, "Oh, I can't be involved in school," and I will ask them, "Why?" He says, "Well, I don't have a college degree,"
Oh,
and I'm like, "Well, you don't need a college degree to be involved in your child's school." "Well, I don't understand everything," and I always say, "Well, I don't understand everything either." And so I think that's one of the biggest myths, that sometimes parents feel like they need to be, have a college degree or highly educated to be involved in their child's school.
right. What about, just being, they can't be involved because of language barriers? We're refugee relocation city now. So how do we work with those families or encourage those families who may have a language barrier to be involved?
One of the things that we have done recently is we are having conversation circles, which
Okay.
are some of my favorite ones, and the district brings in interpreters. Through conversation circles, we're able to get to know our parents by using an interpreter. Our district is very committed to being able to connect with all of our parents. One of the things that we're proud of is the diversity that we have in our schools. So that's one of the ways that we use our interpreters.
Good. What challenges, as the parent support specialists are getting to know their families, what challenges are we seeing the most?
I think one of the challenges is the reality that some of our parents are working parents, meaning that they have maybe 2 to 3 jobs. And so what that means, for our parent support office is that, if we really want to have a relationship with our parents, we're going to have to move away from the 8 to 5
Right.
hours or 9 to 6. So there has to be a shift within us enabled to meet the parents where they're at, because I'm a firm believer that all parents care about their children and want the best for their children. But life
Happen.
happens.
Life happens. So as we're working with our families, our parents, grandparents, the individuals who are raising our students, how do we really show them, especially if there is a trust issue between the community and the district, how do we really show them that we're authentic in asking them to become involved in their child's education? How do we go about doing that?
I think, one of the things that I've been talking to the parent support specialist is to really make time to have what I would call the art of conversation, and really building relationships with individuals. And, having awareness that, you might not agree on the same things and that we're all individuals with different stories. You have your story, I have my story, and the ultimate goal would be, what is our common ground? What is our common goal for all of us? And in an educational setting, as a parent, I have heard parents when I ask them, what are your hopes and dreams? And it goes back to I want my child to be healthy, I want my child to be safe, I want my child to get an education, I want my child to go to college, and that goes across all parents. And so I think that if we can move toward that and start from there, we will be making a lot of headway in our district.
Are the parent support specialists able to work with staff also, as far as teachers or counselors or whomever at the campus, they're working with the families, but are they able to bring the staff and the families together?
Yes, I have found in some campuses, they're part of a team that's called the Child Study Team,
Right,
and
right,
basically work on our campus. And the Child Study Team is, if you want to think of it as a family support team.
right.
Usually it involves a principal or assistant principal, a counselor, the parent support specialist, and other supportive services in the campus that will work with the parent based on their concerns that they might have or requests that they might have regarding their child's education.
Okay. That's great to hear, because it sounds like the parent support specialist might receive information from the families because they have that relationship built that the families may be reluctant to share with anybody else. So that's a good outlet. The research that's out there says that parent and family engagement promotes student success. You've said it already. We all know it. How do we use that data to inform our decisions at the campus level? And then how do we look at our data to show that it's actually working? And I mean, what do you think about that anyway?
Well, I think data is important. Data is important, and it gives us information, I think. But what is really important is that when you're, as a campus, and even from the principal and our superintendent, our area superintendents, are now really making efforts to have community conversations. They realize that data or numbers don't always capture
Right.
all the story that families want to share with us. So it's really important that in the campus that we create the space and create the opportunities for parents to come in and have conversations with us or with the parent support specialists or even the teachers about how do they make it the learning environment that they want for their children.
Their families, and personally, I hated math as a child, still do. But there are families who are concerned about, I can't help my child with their math homework because it's too difficult. When they come to staff with that, to parent support specialists with that, are they able to direct them to programs where the parents can learn or help their students with homework?
I think it depends on the grade level of the child.
Okay.
Because I know that in an elementary level, they have different programmings. They have like math night, which is fun activities that they do. I remember when my son was in elementary, and I remember us baking a cake. And we were learning addition and subtraction and reading recipes. And then in middle school, we have the science fairs, and there was math night, the same thing. And in high school, it's a little more harder. My son right now is taking, I forget, geometry or something. There's some things that I don't understand. But what I've done as a parent, and I know our parent support specialists do, is they show our parents and opportunities to ask the right question.
Okay.
To show still interest without knowing
Right.
the whole concept.
Okay.
But creating, asking a question to your child and say, well, tell me what you learned in geometry today. Tell me more about that problem or that theory. What is that about? And then willing to, take time just to listen. I've talked about the art of conversation, the art of listening, and the art of being present. I think those are three core things.
Right.
That, one of the things that I stress to our parent support specialists and that we could practice as a community, a learning community.
That's great. One of the words I hear you repeat or is story. And I'm a firm believer in learning from people's stories. How does the story work in your role as you lead the parent support office?
What I'm doing right now is I'm going around and meeting with all the vertical teams because we have parent support specialists grouped by vertical teams. We have like the Reagan vertical team, the LBJ vertical team, And I'm just getting to know them and having conversations and asking them about their communities, their parents. What are they saying? What are they hearing? What are the parents wanting? And if they're not able to tell me, then I make a suggestion. It's the time has come for you to go learn from your parents. Always promoting the whole notion of, we're also learners.
Yes, that's great. Well, we are running out of time. Are there some final comments or things that you'd like to share with the audience?
Only that I want every parent to know that the parent support specialists are there to work with them, and that also that they're all welcome in all our schools, and that as you're involved with customer service, if they ever have an experience where they felt they weren't welcome in one of their schools, to feel free to call me or call you to let us know, because sometimes people make mistakes
Right.
or say something that maybe wasn't their intention. But, don't want parents to feel like they can't come to our schools.
Right. Because we want them there
Yes, ma'am.
to help us educate their children.
Exactly.
So thank you, Leonor, for being with us today and telling us about parent support and family engagement within AISD.
It was a pleasure being here, Beverly. Thank you for having me.
That's all the time we have for now. This is Breaking Down the Barriers. We hope to see you next time. To keep up with information in the district and the Austin community, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at AISD_BDB or Instagram at AISD_engagement. Also watch Breaking Down the Barriers on AISD's Channel 22 every Tuesday and Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. I look forward to seeing you next time on Breaking Down the Barriers.